Okay, this is the watch time hours, and this is they were at 3.9, and then when I uploaded, I was about to get monetized. They've been going down ever since. So it shows that it's at an increase of 1.2. It shows consistently to increase, but the watch time hours are not accurate to what it reports. It shows 3.1, but it was at 3.2. So how is it going down if it increased? But it's been doing this. This is what, the technical glitches with the stimulus, the technical glitches with the food stamp, the technical glitches with the Social Security, how they went in, gave a payment, called security last time, and then threatened the police because they didn't have their story straight. Now they have concocted, they have went back years back, decided this person did not deserve the benefits. He has all kinds of stuff going on that's new. I don't know what's going on. I don't really speak with him. I ended that relationship. In fact, I ended the relationship with all these people involved, all of the dads. I have been, like I said, I have presented myself in toxic relationships. Actually, this party, my parents set me up with, both of my parents are deceased. So they set me up with him and told me that he was a nice human being, and it was not what I expected through the experience. I ended the relationship, the online relationship. I ended the relationship with Michaela's dad, and this party that I was getting, my son as well as myself should have qualified for Social Security benefits. So they have concocted that they have went back in, taken his benefits back. He's getting the benefits now, so he will go along with the lies. He has in the past, so I don't know what's going on, why multiple parties are enticed into this chaos. I would try to explain to my family the chaos I was going through. And I'll go ahead and explain this, show you this. I would try to explain to them the chaos I was going through, and they would hang up in my face. It would not let me talk, and I was trying to tell them my life was in jeopardy. Can you imagine how painful it is going to shelters, getting her arrested, trying to be a domestic violence support group, the police detaining you, getting threatened in jail, putting in isolation, being told in shelters that if I talk to anyone, I'll get put out. Got put out in the snow for talking to a man, having inmates guard me and interrupt me talking to other inmates and telling people about my experience that I've never met before. Having shelter staff come out and interrupt me talking to people, deflect and try to entice them not to communicate with me, to isolate me. For the kind of personality type I am, I like to be around people, and it's been very difficult for me to adjust to not having to being isolated. He knows this, and this is part of the abuse. I like to be involved in groups and in church and different things, and he is having these people be abusive and isolate me in their environment. It's hard for me to get a support system because they're told to not provide me, but to be one for me. So here's another example. I know, you have to see it to believe it. You would not see it. You would not believe it if I did not communicate it. So my sister said that she would call me and then tell me she had to go. My cousin was over there. My cousin's mom is not deceased. My cousin's mom is alive. So she would tell me, knowing that I was on the street, my life is in jeopardy, I could not live with her because my cousin was living with her, who has a mom. And then she'd say, I have to go. So they call me, create a conversation, and then when it present things, and then have to go. So this is a pattern. I know you have to see it to believe it. Who would be that petty, and why would a multitude of people have the same behavior? So let me show you this church member. Okay, this church member is the one that did not respond when I told him my daughter was in child abuse. He responded weeks later when I told him I was at the police department. This church is not the active church, the church that I'm involved in now. It was the church prior. So they would disregard me in church and leave me out of different events and different things. So invite people to places, and then sometimes I was left out. So I just, didn't let that bother me. So this particular church member, when I told him I was at the police department, he said, I hope that you weren't in trouble. And I thought to I told him, I said, you forgotten all the chaos that I told you guys I was in, that my life was in jeopardy. My daughter was in child abuse. He didn't respond for a long time. They ignored it. They just pretend that I'm not saying it. They don't offer compassion, any kind of support at all. They just ignore it. This is what my family does, and they would actually hang up when I tried to discuss with them. I said, you need to know that my life is in jeopardy, and they'd hang up. They did not want to hear, and they made it very obvious. And that was very heartbreaking for family members to condone and not do anything about your life being in jeopardy. They wouldn't render me any rights, period. They scheme, lie. My sister deprived me of meal that was vital. And she was crying and having meltdowns during this chaos. I don't know what's happening, what's going on, but apparently they're being tortured too. So here's the church member. He sent me all of this. He's having a family reunion. He sent me all the way up to 11:53. Knowing the experience I am in, why would you send me pictures of grilling and what you're doing with your family? Introduce a conversation. Why would you do that? But this is how my abuser has people taunt me. Like my sister called me with my cousin over there having a good time and told me my cousin was moving in when I was in jeopardy and shelters were putting me out for talking to men. All kinds of chaos, dark buzz, locking me on them while I'm getting threatened. Dark trains, rather. Locking me in the train, which is even that party should have been fired. It was an obvious scheme because they locked me in, would not open the door at multiple different stops while I was getting threatened by these boys. It was on purpose. The police covered for it and would not do an investigation. That's why they have 70-something reports. I was routinely tortured. I would buy something and he has a pattern of stealing it, pickpocketing me after I went to the ATM, having the shelters throw things away. They threw a laptop away. So early. They just single me out in this chaos. Everyone witnesses the chaos, and a lot of people are a part of it, and no one said nothing. The whole shelter, where a lot of people were involved in bullying me and violating me in ways that I can't even communicate because you would not believe. Down to interrupting me putting makeup on in the morning. I got up real early to try to outsmart them. You got to see it to believe it. That's why they won't investigate the reports. Why would a shelter allow all these women to put on makeup and isolate me and prevent me from putting makeup on in the morning? They did it. So one time I said I was going to outsmart them. It was an unspoken rule that I was not allowed to put on makeup. It makes you look nicer. This is how you know someone that has a problem is controlling these people. So I got up at 3 or 4 because I wanted to have some kind of sense of self-esteem. I got up at 3 or 4. Sure enough, someone was alerted that I was putting on makeup. Miss Jackson came in the scheme and put me out. I was not prepared. It was cold outside. She told me to stand outside. She get my items. She got had me stand outside. Was not prepared to be in the cold. She gathered all my items, threw them outside, left my phone, and it was never found. All of this was on camera footage. But staff has stolen from me. My things have been in front of security. They don't care. The government's stealing from me. They do not care. So I don't know what's going on with the YouTube channel. That's what started this. It's a lot of things haven't been accurate. And let me show you something else. Okay, I have to get what I can take for domestic abuse. I don't have rights like multiple other parties. I'm deprived of education online, in person, and with the police department, it's controlled. I call all over the United States, and they don't want me to know my rights because I'm speaking with scammers. If you follow, you can see there's a distinct problem with all of these calls, a majority of these calls that I'm making. Even calling random attorneys for legal representation, they're depriving me of information parties that I've never met. I believe that I'm speaking with scammers. I've called the Department of Justice. I've written them, and I have not had an update. I keep calling for updates. They hung up in my face 6 different times in a row. I don't believe that I'm really calling them. So how far is the corruption? So I finally found something in domestic abuse. It has to be self-love because it has to protect the abuser when I'm able to get access to, but I'll take it. I have to read on my own because every avenue I have is protecting this abuser that supposedly is innocent. So look at this. I registered a long time ago. Look at how many people are going. We've already discussed this. So they are so corrupt. I believe that they're counterfeiting calls. They're controlling my access online. They're controlling who calls me because there's multiple parties that said they were going to call me. I've given my attorney with my number to multiple people with the news. I've given my number to a police that said that he was going to call me. It was someone that was just random. See, they were coming out the building. It was random, so it was not anyone set up in the corruption. I given my number to another party and gave her my YouTube channel. She said that she worked for an attorney and she would give the attorney the number and that he would call me. All of these people I've not had a response to. Like I said, I called my phone a long time ago. My phone was not ringing. This is not normal for me. I would normally get routine calls. I'm not normally isolated like this. This is new, and it's part of the smear campaign to make it seem like I'm getting into it with everyone and no one wants to be around me. I'm trying to expose this is abnormal. Someone is contacting these people that has a problem, that has a lot of power to abuse. I know this because I called my own phone and it did not register a missed call. My son said that I called you, and I said I didn't get a call from you. And then he's kind of covered up for the experience. But like I said, my family has had meltdowns and been crying. And I thought, some of them were having emotional breakdowns, but something was going on which had these people enlisted to covering up for this chaos and hanging in a loved one's face when they were hanging up in their face when they were begging for help. So I don't know what's going on. All I can do is expose the chaos that I experience. Like I said, I called my phone from another phone and unexpectedly, and it didn't register a missed call, and my phone didn't ring. I didn't get a voicemail or anything. I believe my calls are controlled. That's why when I meet new people, completely random people that can do anything to assist me, I don't get their call. It's sick. I have been paying this phone bill for years that the government is allowed to control and create all this chaos and havoc in my life for profit. The only thing that I have done, I don't know why these people are doing this, is all I know is I met this stalker, this person I met online, and then all this chaos happened when I ended the online relationship. That's all I know. There was chaos prior to that. I believe I was getting stalked and wasn't aware of it. But it really went out of control when I ended the online relationship, went to the domestic violence place, and then he enlisted all these businesses, just completely deny me any education services. But here's the problem with this situation. There's conspiracy to violate civil rights crimes. These businesses, almost all of them, would deprive me of services or sabotage them. I could not get services. Okay? Multiple people sat there, witnessed it, and did nothing. Like I said, there were whole shelters that saw that I was getting bullied, multiple parties that stayed there, witnessed schemes, and was a part of schemes to bully me in ways I can't even communicate. How could they be allowed to control me putting on makeup and get away with it? Put me out in the snow for talking to a man? How in the world did someone have that much power to abuse and get away with it? In jail, interrupt me talking to other inmates controlling me and stalking me. Stalking is a crime. Then the inmate that was doing that hit me. Then the staff was trying to hem me up over it, and other inmates said, no, she didn't do anything, that other party did it. So they were forced to act like they had, had integrity because there were witnesses. But then after that, they controlled my report and what I put in the report, because I wanted to report that she was trying to control what I said and was covering up for my experiences and me talking to other inmates. They would not let me put that in the report, and now it's missing. And I haven't had a response from the assault. This party hit me eventually. I believe it was in the scheme. I've had multiple assaults, guns pulled on me, attacks, robberies. That's why I have 70-something reports. Ran off roads, cars speeding up like they're going to hit me. Car hit my son. My son was hit with the car. Police cover for all of it. The reason the interference with child custody crimes, where I can't see my daughter, out of corruption and lies and slander. They want to investigate that. They want to investigate the child abuse. So this is the status of my life. This is the quality of life that I have. And there's a lot of other things I experienced that I just cannot report because they're not believable.